emergencies, all the earthquakes and tsunamis and even conflict that I've visited, I don't think I've ever seen an emergency as complete, as complicated, and as utterly devastating as the earthquake in Haiti. And I want to just note a couple of reasons why. For those of you who don't know Haiti well, Port-au-Prince is the country of Haiti. It's an extraordinarily centralized country, and so when you take out the capital city of Haiti, you basically take out the entire systems of the country. And so for those first few days that were so incredibly desperate, there were no banking systems, no ability to bring food and fuel into the country. The roads were blocked. Many of the government officials were themselves affected. The government ministries were collapsed, and of course so many hundreds of thousands of people lost their home. But there was no outside the damage area from which you could stage a recovery. And even the first responders who you would expect to be able to leap into action, local civil society, local government, international NGOs, and the UN, were all affected. And all had staff who were killed, who were rendered homeless, and facilities were collapsed. So it was really some of the most total devastation that I think any of us have ever seen. You know, I lived in San Francisco in 1989. Anybody know what happened in San Francisco in 1989? The Loma Prieta earthquake was 7.1. And, you know, who here has been through an earthquake, has lived through an earthquake? You know, it is a sickening sensation, that rolling, grinding feeling of the earth moving around. In the Loma Prieta San Francisco earthquake, something around 65 to 69 people died at a 7.1. And in Port-au-Prince, a 7.0. The death toll, which we really don't know yet, it's somewhere around 160,000 and counting, that much more hurt, and probably another 1 million homeless. That's a poverty issue. That's poverty, that's poor governance. There's no reason that a country can't withstand that kind of earthquake, given the kind of resources and better government that every person deserves. So ultimately, the Haiti earthquake is at one level a human rights issue, that so many people were so devastated by this earthquake. One of the main things that we're doing is called the Cash for Work program. It's like the old WPA programs, where we work with community leaders to identify the projects that they would like to do that would help their community. And in these early days, it's still clearing rubble, it's getting the well working again, it's clearing the ditches so that sewage can run, you know, all those kind of small community infrastructure programs. And we work with that community to pay a daily wage so that they can get money in their pockets and they can start feeling more in charge of their own lives. One of the most difficult states to deal with in these post-emergencies is that sense of, you know, completely being out of control, totally a victim of something you cannot control. So the faster, and I think if you think about your own life, how important it would be to start being engaged in a way where you can have money in your pocket, you can support your family, you can buy what you need, and then at the same time you support the local markets. So our Mercy Corps team is working right now in several communities in Port-au-Prince, and we have teams going outside the city to expand that program to some of the affected areas outside Port-au-Prince. It's just so important to enable that kind of economic recovery and that ability of people to regain a sense of their own lives. The second, so we developed a program here after 9/11 called Comfort for Kids, which worked to help caregivers, parents and teachers understand what does it look like when a kid is exhibiting a sign of trauma, and provide trainings and then materials to help them work with those children, to help the kids and along the way the caregivers cope with that trauma. And since 9/11 we've used this program in Sichuan after the earthquake, in Katrina after in New Orleans after Katrina, and Peru after the earthquake, and now we're bringing it to Haiti with slightly revised materials that are heavy on pictures, given the high rate of illiteracy in Haiti. It's like 53% illiteracy, which is shocking. And then the third activity that we're focusing on is just water and sanitation, getting immediate water. We've worked with a number of the hospitals. We are installing water units to ensure that there is safe and clean drinking water, and we'll continue to build on that as we move. One of the things I would really ask each of you to do, since we're gathered here in the Action Center, is remember that this won't be over once it's off the news. I know, I've noticed it's already off the front page of all the papers, and most of the, not all, but many of the news crews have picked up and gone home. But this is a rebuilding effort that will take at least a decade, and it will take sustained attention and investment. And so I would ask each of you to, every January 12th, for the next 5 years, take a moment, think about Haiti, check in on where Haiti is on their journey to rebuild, and think about what it is you could do to help.